Hello, you're welcome on Black Hot Fire Network. Good evening from Uganda. It's Africa Maria, broadcasting live from Kampala, Uganda. Now, today we're going to talk about China spying on Africa. Now, we all know, um, they always say that, once beaten, twice shy. Um, Africa has faced a lot since Muzungu. So, I don't know how stupid we may be to embrace Muzungu like a friend of ours. Yes, the White Davidson, you're welcome on Black Friend Network, and hello to you. I saw the video you shared about Mohozi, but we're not going to talk about Mohozi today. Hi, Juby Jobber, and of course I feel like most of the Africans are forgetting what Muzungu has done, and I hope my president, the president of Uganda, at least could see this video. I'm looking like my first today. Thank you. So I wish you could see that video, okay? Because I always hear him say like, our friends in China, most of the African leaders, our presidents, always quote China as their friend. And in most of their speeches, they always say, like, our friend China has done this and that and that. But of course, in 2012, China built African Union headquarters in Addis Ababa, and it actually built it for free, entirely free. It designed the infrastructure, it built everything about this building entirely. I hope you mentioned how the Chinese built the AU building. Okay. So China's built this for free. And of course, building this, they bagged the entire place with bags. They planted microphones in the interior, inside the walls of the building, and also the furniture they had over there. They planted a lot of stuffs, and of course, which was recording the audios and everything that was taking place inside this building. And of course, Africans realized this in January 2017. That means it's like 5 years down the road. China was spying on Africa, and there are debates because this is their major office. This is where they meet to debate and to discuss about issues that others are even not on camera. Other issues are even not on camera. By the way, we just see what they allow us to see, because there are some issues they feel like are confined to them. There are some agreements that the world does not see, probably because of security purposes. But after China built this entire building, actually, it put surveillances. It put surveillances in this building, that it was able to know what was taking place in this very building. Now, one of the engineers in this building realized that whenever it could clock like midnight, most of the data would, you know, um, whenever it could clock midnight, the data would save, okay, and it could connect to some server. And when they followed that server, it was in Shanghai, China. So the local IT people actually decided to work together and change every system that the Chinese had built in this entire building, that made these people actually, and by the way, the Chinese had even offered to redo this, to build this again, and but the local people, that's the African people, refused, and they said they can do this on their own. But we all know that we always have sellouts. With money in Africa, everything is possible for you. So I don't still believe that these people are safe. I don't think that the African Union offices are still safe. Chinese can give anyone any money to still do the same shit that they were trying to do. So there is no guarantee that African Union officers are safe from the Chinese invasion and the spying. I don't, and I'm actually I believe it is still being spied, because in Africa corruption is high, and everyone wants money, and I know these people can still use someone to still plant these gadgets and continue to spy on Africa now. What could be the reason behind China spying on Africa? If at all they are our friends, if at all we are seeing them say they're doing what they are doing all in the name of friendship. They keep on saying we are doing what we are doing because we are friends, to the point that we see many African presidents addressing them as friends. Our friend China, at least I see the Ugandan president saying that always on different occasions. Saying our friend China has done this, our friend China is ready to do this for us, our friend China is doing this and that. Let me first read. And second one, you're welcome. Peace back to you. That building is gonna be filled with bags and spyware on the computer. Yeah, actually they found this, and they tried to to like demolish those stuffs, but I feel like they still have access into this building. Why do they spy in Africa? Probably because they want to know what is hurting us. They want to know what our leaders are failing to do, and so that they can come with their fake solutions. Okay, they want to know what Africa thinks. Okay, they want to know how to attack us. Okay, they have actually been spying for 5 years, since 2012, and they were only caught in 2017, and I still believe they are doing it because it is very easy to corrupt. It is very easy to use an African person to sell out their own, because they have been doing this since Genesis. So this is not a new thing, so we are not even we are not our security is not guaranteed. Okay, so I still believe China has access to these things. Now, of course, this building was quite expensive. It costed like $9,200 million, and Chinese were always telling us it's a gift. So we are giving you a gift as Africa. We are going to build you this building, the Africa Union offices, and we are giving you this as a gift. And it costed like $9,200 million. They designed it, everything, the architecture and everything. They installed everything. Okay, in that very building. It's a gift that was given. You see why we said there is no Muzungu for a black person. There is no Muzungu for Africa. They are always here in disguise. They are always here, pretending. Yani, these guys, they built this, and the entire African, they are all leaders were so excited, like, yo, China, has gifted us, yo. So, a super building, and everyone was so happy. Okay. But we can see now the reason as to why they built this. They wanted to have access. They wanted to have access the African politics. They wanted to have access in the economy, everything about Africa. Because of course, if they even wanted to know what does Africa think about us. You see, when these people are sitting in their summities, the media gives us what it's there is a session where all phones are turned down, everything is off, and these people talk about things that they don't want the world to know. But China, was knowing all these stuffs within the duration of 5 years since it built this African Union offices. So it was trying to know the weakness of Africa, and how to, attack Africa, how to come into the deal. We know Africa, we know each and every country that gets rich wants to exercise its ability on Africa. We've seen that starting way back. We've seen everyone. They can never be contented until they have a touch in Africa. And I'm also still worried of these other things they are building. Of course, we know they have built like seven parliaments. They have built like seven parliaments in seven different countries of Africa, and they have been building these parliaments for free. Like they are giving an offer. When someone built, and then the funniest thing is that most of these things they are building, they are Africans are just like, okay, they are the main people in these very things. For example, the railway road, the Kenyan railway road. Actually, it's the longest railway line in Africa. It runs from Kenya, that's Nairobi, to Mombasa in just 4 hours. I think it is the fastest, even it is faster than the railway, trains in the US. But this very train, it was built with the purpose of reducing the traffic and congestion on Nairobi and other routes that are used by trucks, long routes that trucks use. But this very railway train is not serving its purpose. The Chinese promised, of course, Kenya that it's going to build this railway and it's going to serve the purpose of, reducing congestion to the point that the Kenyans did not have a right to decide the routes of this railway. So they did not decide that we want this railway to pass from here to the other side. It was the Chinese who chose. They decided that it should have this, you know, route, and this route should start from here to the other side, and it should pass from this side and the other side. And actually, we saw a lot of the tourism industry in Kenya was complaining about this railway. It is passing through some national parks, and we all know that what Chinese do with with the wild animals. Okay, we all know. Why am I saying this? Because this same railway road and the railway transport that China built is being controlled by the Chinese. Everything in that railway train, the train is just in Chinese. Okay, they have left their fingerprints everywhere in the corner of that train, to the point that it is managed by the Chinese from the top. The only black people working on that railway are people who are putting cargo. Okay. So you can see, we know the interest Chinese have with the wildlife of Africa. We know what they have been doing to the elephants. We know what they do to their skins. We know what they do to the meat. We know what they do the wildlife. And now they decide for Nairobi, they decide for Kenya that we want your routes to pass here. You don't have no choice. But this railway road is not for free, actually. It is like a $3.6 billion project. Actually, it is the most expensive infrastructure since Kenya's independence. So, Kenyans have been left in debt with China. We should also recall that Kenyans 70.2% of Kenyans' debt is owned by the Chinese people. 7.2%. So, why should you construct a railroad for me and then decide what the routes should be? Okay? Why should you decide that? You know what? Okay, Jibijaba, you are offering me something. I'm saying probably you're going to build for me a grocery. So you decide that, Maria, I don't want you to build a grocery there. I want you to build that grocery somewhere else. You want me to build that grocery where you have interest, okay? Because if Kenya fails to pay this debt, they're like taking the entire game park. These guys are going to take the entire game park. The entire tourism of Kenya will be in the hands of the Chinese. Okay? So the shit is crazy. So these people nowhere actually to attack the people. When they were constructing the railway, you guys saw a lot of things that happened in Kenya. When these guys were constructing that railway, Africans were mistreated. The segregation, the racism in your own land, the racism that took place in Nairobi at that time. The people, the Kenyan people who were working on that railway, you don't sit together with the Chinese. They get punished. The Chinese start flogging them with canes to the point that some other men were bleeding. We saw videos, people, they were boxing them, a lot of bullshit was going on through that. But of course, the Kenyan government was supposed to stay, to shut up because they were, on their knees. They wanted, China to do this. You may feel like, okay, um, that's a sellout. So the railway is just there for the fact that it is in Kenya, but that railway is not even for the Kenyan government. It is not even for the Kenyan people because it is governed by the Chinese. How has it even reduced that traffic like the Chinese had promised? It has not. We are not seeing it employ black people. Apart from these other labor, small staffs, we are not seeing big people, Africans in big offices in that railway. It is governed by the Chinese themselves. So if you have built something for me, why are you still in control of this very thing? So that's my question. Chinese have built parliament, and in the end of it all, they are going to demand they are going to demand their existence in these very parliament buildings they have, gifted to Africans. Oh, let me first read your comment, guys. Okay, that building is gonna be filled with. Okay, we read that. They do the same with machinery they sell to America. Spyware is installed. These guys have a. That's politics. Morning. Okay, okay, okay. That's spy because the one-eyed man rules in the land of the blind. True that. True that. Do you know? Do you think Africans are racist? I guess you thought China had taken me down. I'm kidding. Mhm. Uh, I know I phrase, but I'm back. So, actually, we've so much talked about China, and I'm also sure that the African leaders know that people manage to put all these bags and other stuff in the AU building, the African Union building, just to spy on them and to know what is going on in Africa. They should know that these people have no good intentions. This at least should have been the first, step to, opening the eyes of the African leaders that China is not here for a good cause. You know, yeah, we've seen it. Like, we've talked about the things China is building for, most of the African countries. That China building, roads, infrastructures. I'm even beginning to, fear. I remember I told you guys before that these people might even be building these infrastructures, knowing that duration these infrastructures will last. That's when Jibijaba told us that even their materials are not strong, even their steel is not strong. They got fake steel and all that. So I believe that these people are doing all these things just for their purpose of being here, and maybe their things may not be long term. So they just want to leave a print, or imprint themselves in the hearts of the Africans and the people who don't know how this matrix goes. Hmm? And this should be the example. This at least Africans should have realized this. And now we are so worried that even China, is has its in and out movement, you know, to Africa with these viruses and all that we know that it creates, to the point that some countries in Africa have even allowed Chinese to have their laboratories, isolated laboratories. What actually are they manufacturing in these laboratories? Why are the Chinese manufacturing in these laboratories that they are setting in isolated places? So I don't know why the African leaders are so, they are so blind to this. They neglect the facts. Their high level of negligency, from the African leaders, they're exposing the Africans to a lot of, things, dangerous situations that even they may not be able to manage. First of all, China knows that Africa is poor in one way or the other. We have even failed to control the smallest and tiniest situations. All that we do is to run for aid, for help, for that. Now, I'm thinking, and so let's assume these laboratories, because I'm not sure, like, I don't like talking about things that I'm not very sure of, but there is no any other reason as to why these guys are building these isolated laboratories that even like they don't want people to know about. So let's assume that they are building these laboratories. And of course, let me tell you, getting a sample of a black man is as easy as giving that person $1. Getting black sample of a black woman is just as easy as a Chinese man telling her, I love you, I'm gonna marry you, okay? So let's assume these laboratories, these facilities, these medical facilities, these guys are building in isolation with a claim that it's to treat their own kind, or the increasing population of Chinese. Yet in other places we are seeing Chinese go to usual hospitals like other people. What if they are also trying to cook some shit? What if they are trying to cook some stuff they are going to use towards us? Because now this is so close. And I can tell you, if something starts from Africa, I can tell you all the borders of this world will close for Africa. The US will say no Africans step in here. The Chinese themselves will even say we don't want to see any African in China. Everyone will reject us. I'm saying this here on Black Hot Fire Network. Oh, we shall be talking about this thing, oh, and I'll be reminding you what I'm saying. Because we have been like the untouchable when it came to these viruses that the Chinese and his friends have been manufacturing. Africa has not felt the heat like other countries have, or like other nations have. Yes, I know it is struck us economically, but hey, where have we been economically? We're still down. I mean, though it struck us to the bones that we're still feeling that hit. Yeah, yeah, Jibijobo. Now imagine that this ugali they are cooking is coming straight up from Mama Land. I can tell you they will confine us in this place and we shall be like animals in a zoo. They will confine us here that we shall not be able even to move outside of Africa. I wonder why people are not questioning these laboratories that they are constructing, because I don't think a Chinese has a right to construct. We better stop talking in class. Exactly. After okay, okay. Now, when you write these stuffs, when I keep reading your comments and then I, drift away from the topics. I don't take notes, so I just write. So if something skips, it's going. When I read your comments and you're talking about some other stuffs, and my mind is it's going. Okay. So okay, the war game. No, 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 no. I'll read that later. Yeah, true. And second was stop scattering the house. So guys, you can see, yeah, they brought the monkey, they brought the Ebola. Okay, we saw the Ebola and the meat that it comes from the monkey, but we know it's not China who brought this Ebola thing. We know who brought Ebola. Okay, so that Africans are eating monkeys, and the people from the Congo are eating monkeys, and that's why they are having these, all this kind of stuff. So, how is that even possible? That these people have even the ability to start building their own, to start building these uh, laboratories. They claim that they are making, vaccines that are going to help, Africans fight this, these other kind of diseases. And of course, we've seen some other countries taking some vaccines from China and all that kind of thing. And to the point that some other laboratories were hidden. When you do something that's genuine, let the news talk about it. Let us hear our news telling us, like, what, China has built, a laboratory or a hospital the other side, so things like that. We don't want to see a place that is, guarded by, soldiers, guarded by these very people who are protecting these, muzungu, these small, macho kidogo mzungu. They are the very people they are first going to feast on. They are first going to eat them, and then they will come next to these other Africans, like I always say, omuntu awansi, the local people. So I don't know where the African leaders get the guts to start allowing these kind of people to start having their industries. Sorry, industries, they can do that because, of course, if someone can build a parliament for you, the next thing, you guys, we shall see them demanding, positions in this parliament. We've seen them, joining militaries. We've seen these people. By the way, now, before we had Koreans uh, coming to Uganda to train. Then we had, of course, the USA coming down to train Uganda's military. They were training them war tactics and all that. So we saw Koreans coming in, training them their own kind of way. So China came in and is like trying to say, hey, I'm taking over. So we are also seeing them trying to, involve themselves in the military training, policing, and the police training and all that. But these are people who are training people who are going to work to deal with Africa. The way you deal with an African is not the way you will deal with the Chinese. You may think you are bringing your Chinese kind of way to manage Africa. It will not work, unless you become barbaric, unless you are saying you're going to start shooting people every time. Africans, we understand different. We don't listen now. We don't. You don't think you're going to bring your rules like the ones that work in China and you think it's going to work in Africa. We have our own understanding. And there is a way, there is an approach that always Africans, consider. But of course, this is what is happening. And I'm seeing Chinese taking over. Like, there is no country in Africa that has not been, affected, or there's no country where China has not reached an end, except one country, that's Switzerland, in the southern part of Africa. It's a very small country. China has not yet extended its hand to the Switzerland people. But straight up northern Morocco, they say Morocco, Tunisia, we are seeing even in Cote d'Ivoire, we are seeing them down in Rwanda, we are seeing them guys in Sudan. They're everywhere. There is Chinese fingerprint. And for their existence is so physical, like I always tell you, it is so physical that it is felt even by the youngest person. It is even felt by the oldest. It is felt even by someone living in the deepest corners of a country that China reaches to. The US not know that the hospital they are in was funded by UN or that. It is very hard for you to reach, and of today it is very hard for you to reach some local areas, and nobody knows that Chinese people have touched on the grounds of Uganda. Like I always tell you guys, that Chinese approach is so physical. They are touching every corner, starting from building water sources, going down to markets, roads, and they are reaching everywhere to the point they are pregnanting these little girls, Chinese babies everywhere, women leaving their husbands to go for Chinese idiot. Did I say that? I guess I did. So a lot of shit happening everywhere, and they are leaving their fingerprints. We always say they're having these babies for their own selfish gain. They are creating an army. Yeah, so they know somebody. A child grew up knowing, well, my dad is a Chinese, even if I don't know my dad, but he must be an uncle, my uncle. And then a Chinese man can come and even convince you, I know your dad and all blah blah, but you have to do this for us and all that. So they are creating their army on the ground. They are creating spies who are going to really spy them. Forget about their bags and everything they are putting in their African Union offices. Now look at this. They are going to be doing this physically, approaching these children, these eggs they are putting everywhere. Their sperms are running everywhere in the corners of Africa. And they're going to come back using these children to betray us. These very children are the ones they are going to use to give them information on what is going on. Because in the first place, these children will be well versed with the place, versed with the language. Okay. You the muchincho. The muchincho ate hitting you. Stop. Whatever, them chincho can do what they want. I mean, nowadays, do you think even women care about who is hitting right and who is not? They don't. They don't. That's why most of them are even so desperate because they don't know what they want. Me, there's one thing I know, that money can never be enough. Money can never be enough. The more you have, you may say that I want to have like this amount, and when you reach that amount, you still want to have more. It's about the content, it's about your heart saying that, okay, I'm fine with this and whatever comes. You, but it's crazy. And I don't think this whole thing has got to do with the poverty level. It's the ignorance, actually. It's the ignorance. It has got nothing to do with poverty, because not everyone is rich. It's the ignorance. The ignorance that most people are so ignorant. Like I said, the stereotype of thinking of a Mzungu. Now you're gonna have a Chinese baby. What the fuck? You think this baby won't have malaria? Or you feel like this baby, if won't walk barefoot if you don't have, shoes? Or do you think this baby is going to be so advantaged compared to other babies? I don't see that. And then it's so funny that when poverty strikes, that families of those kids look like, oh, so sorry. You find some of them having cracks on their feet, their hair is just having, ticks, and how oh god. So just this place is not meant for them. But of course, their parents, with their ignorance, they just put these kids there simply because they want to have a baby looking like Jesus, with small eyes, this kind of shit. Well, this is Africa. Ajib Jabba says it's lack of self-esteem. True. True. I don't know. I don't know. I have this mentality. I don't know whether it's me. When I see a Mzungu, I see someone who is so weak. Even if it's a man, I feel like this is someone I can just box and they die. Not to be honest. And when I look at a black man, no matter how slim this man is, I feel like I see like strength. I see like this person represents strength. This person is strong, energetic, and I see him like someone who's going to live for a very long time. I don't know whether it's my mind telling me that, but that's me. That's how I see this thing. So I look at them, and sometimes I look at them and I say, oh, I look at them, like in a sorry kind of way. Like I feel like they are so weak. Like what are they even doing here? They may even die. But what? That's me in a way. So Jibba says maybe they lack. I mean, it's lack of self-esteem. So um, trading an anaconda for an ignorant. Woo! Make this make sense. Trading an anaconda for an egg noodle. No, it's crazy. Uh like I said, it's when it comes to the kind those kind of people, it has got nothing to do with the you know or It has got nothing to do with that. A lot of things that we we find fitting all right. Okay, so you find that some of them are just doing it because I will be that VIP. When I'm having this kind of baby, like I said, the ignorance and like you say, self-esteem. So I imagine myself, I'm having my baby's growing up. Just like someone will say, I'm gonna have I'm gonna marry her, or I'm gonna marry this guy because he looks so cute. And they don't care whether the person is dumb, stupid, or silly. So you don't care that genes this person is gonna bring. You know, you don't care that genes this person is going to bring. Are they going to be able to compete in this world of competition? Are these kids going to have the brain to understand the matrix? Are they going to understand what's going on? But they don't really look at this. So these are the kind of women who will be sleeping, because for them, they see I'm having this Chinese baby. And by the way, I can guarantee you that most women who sleep with these muzungus, they just want these babies. And the same thing, these muzungus will be sleeping with these women. They just want to have those babies. So you can see how crazy it is. Muchincha. Ebonywood versus yellow grass. China baby will go up and mate with another Chinese. 5 generations, no more blacks. Like 12 so many. We can hopefully, but do you think even they will mate with another? Do you think they will mate with those other people? I don't think they will give them even the chance to. Because first of all, these guys are mating with these women and they are not marrying them. They are just mating with them for sexual purposes, and then the other purpose that we say for creating their own army. They are not even minding about, once they know that you're pregnant, boom, they dump you, they move on to another. And once they know you're pregnant, they dump you, they move on to another. And like I said, most of these people who are doing this are actually they are prisoners in China. So they come here to give free services to their country. So China is not paying for their labor. It's not. It's actually getting a lot of benefits because it's not paying for these Chinese who are working. They just feed you, they give you a little allowance, you know, they give you a little allowance and you're working for free because you're a criminal in China. So you come here to serve your sentence as you are, doing, some stuffs and giving money to your country. Robert Williams, you're welcome on Black Hat Fire Network. You're welcome. So, you see, China man, honey, like the banana. Jabba. Oh God, crazy. Um, I don't know why. Okay, I don't want to talk silly. Sometimes shit is silly. Mm, I don't want to talk about silly things, but um, these guys are like everywhere. You find them in clubs. You find when we are watching the Vogue on TV. You see Chinese everywhere drinking alcohol, beers, and all that. I didn't know these guys take beers, but I think they are good at liquor because I usually see them with those big liquor bottles, and they love eating fatty stuff, but they hardly eat in restaurants. Actually, most of these people have their own chefs. So these people who construct, they make sure they come with the Chinese chef. They don't eat local food. They don't eat African food. So you can see they are not ready to know what is going on. They are not ready to mingle with the African culture. They don't even want to know what happens. They have their own chefs that cook their snails and all that kind of bullshit that they be eating. So they come with the Chinese chefs, and then they add some other African chefs, of course, who are going to be like kitchen helpers doing their dishes and all that. And they treat people like bad. Seriously. But yeah, and then the funniest thing with these guys, they don't sleep with the someone who is beyond 16 years. Chinese don't sleep with people who are beyond 16 years. Now, most of these people that who are beyond that age and they are grown-up women, they are prostitutes. They are prostitutes. That one, they will come, they pick them on the streets, and they pay them some money. And stupidly, you are a prostitute, you are selling your coaching, and you're still getting pregnant. How stupid and dumb can really some yo no you're a prostitute, you're hawking your body, and then you go ahead, you want to get pregnant with this person who has paid you, I don't know how much, and you still want to have babies. So don't you see, they don't even care whether Chinese are responsible. They don't care whether they are going to take care of these babies, as long as they have this machai, baby. Hmm. And still strop now again, the young ones, they find them in the villages. They just come, they start buying some like clusters of bananas, they buy some beef and some other stuffs they bring to the mom. And these are some others are orphans who are living with their grandparents. You find that even the grandparent is blind, she doesn't even see, she's so old, and she's right there. Maybe the mother dumped this child right in the village, and of course the Chinese starts pretending like they are taking care of these kids, and they even don't pay for lodges. How damn, they even don't pay for lodges. They just carry these children, even have sex with them in their own parents' houses, in the absence of their parents. You can see how the foolery. You can see how they are fooling Africans, taking advantage of poor people, taking advantage of, you know, these children who have no say, taking advantage of this little girl who are orphans. They are so vulnerable. And actually, what hurts more is that I don't see these all so-called organizations and the governments coming in to fight for these innocent girls. I don't see people talking about this. And then you see in the market children carrying other children on their backs. I'm a mother of a child, you're a mother of a child. And you're carrying a child on your back, and it's a Chinese baby whose even gene is not like really doesn't understand the world you're living in, not even your country. The sun is so hot, you see that kids turning so red, and they are predators, just like Jibi Jabba is saying. One of these days, I still have a lot of things to show you guys. And I hope one time I meet with these children. Sometimes it's very good for them like to tell us, why did you really choose to lay with this kind of man? What did he even tell you? What did he convince you? I think it's high time. Maybe when the world sees this kind of children, they will come. Maybe someone will stand in there to fight for these babies and children, because we know African leaders will not. Now, what is this? What is coming on my screen? What is going on? Battery saver? Big. Come on. Some app I just popping up on my screen anyhow. So indeed, these guys are predators. Heck yeah, they are major alcoholics. Not Asians, are Japanese especially. China, man, honey, like the financial. What's it? Ma'am, chicha. on Africa would be the first step to, the first step to show Africans that they are not safe with these guys, you know. But of course, I know they are not safe, but the greed, the corruption, lack of planning, everyone just wants to, milk Africa dry. Even the African leaders want to milk their countries dry. That's why they don't care. Okay, by the time Chinese that's overtaken, I will not be the president. Someone else, let someone else will come and struggle with them. Someone should come and struggle with what you know that debts you left behind. And African people are actually paying these debts. So I always ask a question: if someone else comes in power and is not in agreement with the Chinese, what will the government do? Or maybe we I don't know. Shit is crazy. We are in deep shit. We are turning to something so terrible. And it hurts that way back people did not understand things well. Nowadays we see everything. The world is like one village. We see understand our neighbors and how they work, to the point that we even foresee their missions here, but we still fall right into their trap simply because we want, money. And this money we can still build as Africans. And these all things we can still do on our own. Anyway, and that's really you know, crazy. The world is such a crazy place, more especially when it comes to the black people. I don't see any black person living peacefully in China. Like I told you, some of them were even used for their own, you know, laboratory testing and all that kind, testing their, drugs and vaccines on the black people. And to the point that even others were being deported. So everyone thinks that they can come to Africa and do shit and go away untouched. They can come to Africa and they do what they want and they go away untouched. They can turn this to a dumping state and no one is going to say a shit. We see them, bringing their substandard things down to Africa, and we are just, welcoming them with two hands. In Africa, when someone gives you something, you just don't receive it like this, that. So no matter how tiny, even if something can fit in, you know, in between your thumb, you are not allowed to touch something like this. So when someone gives you something, you touch it with two hands, like. So I feel like we are all, welcoming Chinese with two hands, like they're giving us something that we need. But and yet when they come here, they still do a lot. They have cut down trees. My God, these guys have deforested Africa like shit. These guys have dug down our swamps. I don't know what they're up to. They have cut down trees, young trees and old trees. They don't care. They are doing things extravagantly, mercilessly. They are doing things with a hidden motive. That how on earth will you enter a forest and cut down everything? Every tree, be it a young tree, a 1 year old tree, you don't care whether it's a month old tree, you've just come for the trees. They have deforested everything. In some parts, actually, I believe that when China steps as a whole here in Africa, we might even turn into a desert because these guys are eating up every organism, cutting down the trees that they want timbers. Now they're attacking the ecosystem in Nairobi and Kenya. All the bullshit that they are doing, and actually, no one is telling them to stop because I feel like the African leaders are just down on their knees. Okay. Yeah, 20 years ago, I would have to find a local Ugandan community to know what's up. Now we can communicate real time online. Powerful. True. So then we would say, um, maybe our ancestors, those other people who were there at that time, did not really know who these people are. But now we know because whatever happens with them, we know. But we are still falling into their traps that with open eyes, we are just falling to their traps. Keith, you're welcome on Black Hot Fire Network. Okay, Keith says that, yeah, look at Gambia and Senegal. They have destroyed their forest. Crawl, walk, fly, swim, dead or alive. They will eat it. Crawl, walk, fly. True, true. And then when you start attacking the ecosystem, they're like trying now. Now soon, of course, now this railway train that was built that moved from Nairobi to Mombasa, um, the Kenyan government did not have a right to it. They did not have a right to choose that which routes should we use. It was the Chinese that chose. But you know, these wild animals do not like noise. We know that the wild animals do not like noise. So these wild animals are going to be running away that they may even, start hurting other people because of this railway that is passing through the game parks. And like I told you guys, there is a reason as to why these people have created this railway. You know what Chinese have been doing with our elephants and other stuffs? I'm seeing Keith is in that studio. Hi, Keith.
Hey, Maria, you're talking about the train and Kenya. That's outdated, old ass technology, right? That train is worthless. It's fucked up. It's worthless. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's outdated. They made the Africans these despotic ass leaders who got their kickbacks from Uhuru and the rest of these no good bastards. Had the Kenyans paying for overpriced train that's worthless. That's 50 years behind. It's 50 years outdated technology. Now Kenya's the laughing stock with a goopy train. At least Tanzania with Magufuli would still like said we can't buy no shit like that. We gotta buy our own updated train and we got to fund it. That's why the Tanzanian train that's going from there and over to Uganda is gonna be a much faster train and a new and an actual new technology train. The one in Kenya is oh my god. It's a laughing stock because it's old technology that they overpaid for. Because these handkerchief head
That,
boot
that,
looking
that
ass.
train, that
Yeah.
train runs fast, Keith.
No, it doesn't.
It
No,
takes
it
like
doesn't.
4 hours.
No, it does
Like
not run
four,
fast, Maria. No, it does
it
not.
takes like
No,
four
it does
hours
not.
from. No,
You didn't know it does?
listen. It
No, you
takes
make
like 4 hours from Nairobi to Mombasa.
That's not
Do you
fast.
know
You
the
know,
distance from
that's not
Nairobi to
fast. That's
Mombasa?
not fast. Are you crazy? The car goes faster than that on them fucked up roads in Kenya. That's not fast. You know how many
You said
miles that
what?
is? Yeah, that's not fast. How many miles is it,
No,
Maria?
no, no. You're gonna Google the miles, the distance
Yeah,
from
Google the miles.
Nairobi
Google the miles,
to
Maria.
Mombasa Port.
It's not fast, Maria. It's a slow train. I already showed spikes and years ago. It's outdated, Maria. It's raggedy technology. You think that's new because you in Africa? That shit is outdated. It's 50 years behind the times, Maria. At least not no fast train. Our bullet train would be something like in Japan or Europe. That train is horrible. That's not a fast train. Let me tell you
I'm
miles.
googling.
Let me tell you miles is from Mombasa to damn Nairobi. How many miles is it from Nairobi, Kenya to Mombasa, Kenya? What? It ain't number 300 miles. It's number 300
300?
miles. That's it.
No,
I'm looking at it right here, Marie. I got it right here. It's
it is.
303
It
miles.
is
It is.
about. No, it is about 1,087,000.
No, what are you talking about? That's no 1,000 miles. For no damn. I got it right here. It's 300 miles.
You Google.
1,000. I'm Googling it. I just Googled it. From Nairobi to Mombasa is 303 miles. I'm looking at it right here.
It's 488.1 kilometer via
Okay,
road,
that's kilometers.
and it is
And miles,
47 hours to 53 minutes when they
that's
have not
kilometers.
stopped.
That's kilometers. I'm looking at miles. Kilometers and miles are different, Maria.
No,
Miles.
now I'm showing you the kilometers because it's what
Well,
I've given
I'm showing you miles. It's 303 miles. It shouldn't take no 4 hours and no fast train to go 303 miles, Maria. 303 miles, I can do that in a fast car in 2.5 hours. What you talking about? What is up, guys? You guys find yourself. How far is Nairobi?
Yeah, but you find for us.
How many miles?
California.
How many miles is it from Nairobi, Kenya to Mombasa? Google's telling me 303 miles. Maria said some thousand, now 400 kilometers. I said miles. It's 303 miles. And since the roads are so bad in Africa, that's a 7-hour trip on they fucked up roads. Anywhere in America, it's not no, it don't take no 7, 8 hours to drive no 300 miles. That's in Africa on them terrible ass roads they got in Kenya. That's not no 7-hour ride in no America. So, let me see if you guys got what. Yeah. You guys let me know. How many miles is it, guys? I got 303 miles. Maria thinks that's a fast train. It's not, Maria. It's not. It's the standard gauge. It's all old, outdated technology.
I'm Googling.
Google this for me, then, Maria. Google this. Say, how long does it take the Japanese bullet train to go 300 miles? Give me know. How long does it take for? Let me know. I Google. I ask myself. I'm on Google. How long does it take for the Japanese bullet train to go 300 miles? Japanese, they built another train. I mean, how many hours does that go? Hey, and the Japanese bullet train, 300 miles takes an hour, hour and a half. Hour and a half. You talk about 4 hours is fast. What are you talking about, Maria?
I did not compare the one with the Japanese. I compared with the US.
We don't got no. We don't got no trains that slow. And we got old raggedy trains because nobody takes the train in the U.S. Maria.
I know
We
I did not
we are
compare with
we
other
are we
countries.
are
I
we
did
are a
not.
car base.
No,
We
you
are a car,
quote me right. No, wait,
we
hold
are
on.
we
You
are a
quote me
car.
right. I did not say it's the fastest in the world. Try to quote
We
me right. I
what?
compared it with the US. I know I'm not that dumb to say it's the fastest in the world.
Oh, I said the U.S. We don't ride trains. Maria,
And of course, US does not
we
have
are a
train. It has the
car-based society. Oh no,
the
I got called.
fastest.
Hold on.
It is the fastest because you guys don't have new train routes. You don't even use train anymore, so it's the fastest. So you used to know how to build trains, but nowadays you don't build trains no more. So yeah, I'm not like trying to say you quote me right. I did not say that it's the fastest in the world. Don't say that. I did not say that. I said I compared it to the US because you guys used to construct railway lines, but and the trains of which nowadays the US is not investing money in train transport. I did a comparison between the US. I did not compare with Korea or other countries. And of course, I cannot be that dumb to say that Mombasa Railway is the longest or the fastest in the entire world. There are lots of modern technologies that are up in the world. But it's the longest in Africa. At least that's what I said. I know I recall. Even though I say things that I don't note down, unfortunately. I don't usually have a book like where I write stuff, so most of the things I say, I don't note them down. So, but if I remember, if I recall what I say, that's what I say. I compare the railway to the US because I know you guys has been long. You constructed railway lines and you hardly use trains anymore. But I did not talk about the world. I think Keith, you're not getting it right. But whatever. I'm trying to find here some. I don't know. 260 back to shares, fund managers. Why am I getting other shit like this? Hmm, whatever. 300 miles by car, 483 kilometers by car. That's a 300 mile per hour. 7 hour 55 minutes via Mombasa by road. I don't know. I don't know where Keith gets what he's saying. Basically, it's shit really. How is that acceptable? And it's very expensive.
Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me? I'm back.
Because they spend like a lot of money
So,
constructing that railway. I think it's actually Nairobi is in debt. Like that's 120 to 222 like per hour.
now, now, understand the cost of this train and what it costs. If America wanted to build high speed train, it could do it. It wouldn't build that shit that Kenya built. Not for no goopy Chinese either. America just would build it. We don't use high speed train because we are a car society here. America's a car society. Our infrastructure wasn't set up for
It's
trains.
okay now, Keith.
But,
It's okay. The issue wasn't like you guys are doing bad. Don't get emotional with America. It's not like
but,
I just
huh?
stated that truth. If I was to compare, that maybe will be another debate.
What can you
Maybe
compare?
that,
That
that
raggedy,
maybe
you
that
can't
will be
compare that.
another
that
debate, and I
you
can
can't get,
compare
you can't
America
get,
to Africa.
you
I'm
can't
telling you,
compare that. You
and
can't
maybe
compare
it's
that
what I
raggedy
should
ass
talk
Kenyan
about
train.
on
You
Monday.
can't compare that raggedy ass Kenyan
I will
train
talk
that
about
run off
you and
kerosene to any American
Africa on
train.
Monday.
No, yeah, we got to call you
I'm
Katie.
being
Maria,
implement
you
seriously.
can't compare
Nonsense.
that raggedy Chinese Kenyan train that runs off kerosene to an American train. That raggedy shit. That big boot. That's a goddamn That's a white elephant. It's what they call a boondoggle. That train is fucked up. The train is worthless. Shouldn't have been built. It's overpriced. They pay all that money for one train that only goes 300 miles. How can that be the long? You mean that's the longest train in Africa? 300 miles? There's a problem then. If that's the longest train in Africa, it don't go number 303 miles. Shit. We got to get some building in Africa. 300-mile train is the longest train in Africa? That can't be true. God damn, 300 miles, that ain't shit. So that is outdated,
We had
old, raggedy.
trains in Africa that were running during the days of colonial masters.
But yeah, but
And
that
the way
wasn't
they
train.
used to build these
Those
trains, they were coming from places where they used to get their raw materials to the
exactly.
port.
You get the raw
And
materials
these
and take it
trains
back to the
no
port.
longer even work. Nowadays in Africa, it is very rare to find trains.
I
Most
know those
especially in the saharian
those
part of
trains.
Africa.
Those
People
trains were
hardly
designed to
use
get the
them.
materials and take them back to the port. I know.
They are
I
just
know.
reinstating the use of railway trains back into action. Now, maybe basically because of the oil and other stuffs. But most countries, yes, did have railroads, but Africa, they most of them are spoiled. We had one of the railroad that could take us straight up from Sudan coming to Uganda, running all over. I mean, through Nairobi, going to the coast of
I
Mombasa.
know.
That one
I
was
know.
dead.
It
No
was
longer.
always built to get the resources out of Africa and onto the ships. I know, Maria. I know. But anyway, that Kenyan railroad, that Kenyan train is fucked up.
Okay.
That's right.
Anyway,
Um,
guys, my time is up. Thank you very much
uh,
for coming. Thank you
I
very much
came
for
too.
watching
I
Black
came. I
Network.
came too. I
It's
came too
me,
late, Maria.
Africa
God damn it!
Maria.
You lucky. I came too late. I know you lucky.
Okay. Okay, now correct. Okay. Thank you very much, guys, for watching Juby Jabba.
Tell
Thank you
you,
very much
is
for
that your mother? Tell your mother I said hi. Was that your mom?
Thank you
Was
so
that
much.
was that your
Um,
mama? Was that your mother?
yeah.
Tell her I said hi.
Okay. General
And tell her
Mosquito, thank you very much.
tell her don't be catching no Kenyan trains.
Who else was here? I think that's all. And for you others who have watched, thank you very much for watching Black Hot Fire Network. It has been me, Africa Maria. We meet you same time tomorrow
Not tomorrow. Tomorrow's the weekend, Maria.
on
You good?
Monday.
On
Bye
Monday,
bye, guys. Take care.
unless you want to work on Saturday.
Hmm.